Hey, house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 26 updates and spoilers. It's Wednesday. We finally get to see the crazy ass veto ceremony tonight. I can't wait. I can't wait to see Leah place that veto on Angela's neck. But we have other things to talk about. Okay, our house guest of the day, Janie B. Janie B, thank you so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate you so much. So thank you again. If you guys want to be house guest of the day like Janie, check out our Patreon link in the description below. And you will also find down there a link for Paramount Plus if you're interested in getting live feeds. And if you use our link, it really helps us out. So we appreciate that too. Okay. Before we get going to, I also have to just say hello to Kyle Goat. How you doing? He says, I still remember the first stream that I was at the week that Paulie Calafiore went up on the block and he was crying, baking, waving the American flag. It was hilarious. Oh my God. That was too much. My mom just brought that up like maybe a week ago and we were still laughing about it. I mean, it's just an all-time classic, but welcome to the show. So when we left off yesterday, we have Chemo versus Rubina versus Joseph up on the block. And Joseph was very nervous. He was worried, oh my God, my dream is slipping away. I don't know if I'm going to have the votes to stay here. He was also just shell-shocked to even be up on the block. I mean, Quinn is supposed to be one of his tippy-top allies, right up there with Leah, who's the one who used the veto. And, oh, Bubby, it's okay. And he's been getting conflicting stories from Leah and Quinn about whether or not Leah knew that he would be going up on the block, which she did, but she told him, no, I didn't know. So the latest that Joseph is going with, baby, relax. It's okay. He gets all upset. He's upset with how Delulu Joseph is sometimes. But yeah, Joseph is now thinking, okay, maybe Quinn did tell Leah that I would be going up on the block, but she didn't think that it was for real. So that's why she went ahead and used the veto. If you say so. So yeah, Joseph and Quinn, doesn't seem like either of them are really all that upset at Leah. I will say Quinn is definitely annoyed that Angela's staying in the house for at least another week, but he doesn't seem to be upset with Leah or like targeting her or anything, which is wild. But Joseph has been campaigning, and it does seem like he could have a few votes in his corner. Cam, Mackenzie, Chelsea, they've all talked about how they want to split up the trio of Rubina, Chemo, and T-Core. So it would appear that they would be voting for Joseph to stay, but will they be able to pull in a fourth vote to go along with them? We will find out, right? Also, Rubina has been making some moves here. She's not just like sitting up on the block doing nothing. She has been trying to start up a girls' alliance with T-Core. This is something that they've been talking about like all week now and not really solidifying yet, but they have been talking about it a lot. They want to pull in Chelsea, Mackenzie, Leah, and now they're also starting to include Angela in it. So I'm like, woo! How exciting. Angela's going to be a part of something. Is she going to blow up on this too? I don't know. We'll see. Who's going to blow up on a girls' alliance first? Angela or T-Core? Because T-Core has been known to turn her back on a few alliances in her day. But yeah, like I said, this alliance has not been solidified yet, but Rubina and T-Core are really trying to lay the foundation for it, and it's kind of like a slow build. And I have to say, I mentioned this yesterday, I really feel like Rubina is recovering well after Tucker's eviction. Does she still talk about him all the time? Yes, of course. But like, she's in love. Of course she's going to do that. But she is not letting that drag down her game. She is still trying to stay. She's trying to get it together here. Chemo, on the other hand, has been mopey all week. And I know he's got it harder because he is a have-not this week, but like, he's really beefing it here. He has not been interacting much at all with people outside of his trio with Rubina and T-Core. I mean, he's been like hanging out with people here and there, but he's really been keeping to himself. He hasn't been campaigning at all. So he definitely should be, though, because he is in trouble this week if he does not win the AI competition. Is really bad. Another thing we've been keeping an eye on, Mackenzie and Cam have been getting real cuddly, real up close and personal, rubbing on each other, little scalp massages, little back massage, whatever. And Chelsea is not happy about it. She always seems to be around when this rubbing is going on. So, yeah, she doesn't like it because apparently she and Cam had a conversation, which we didn't see on the live feeds. So I don't know what exactly was agreed upon here, but apparently they talked about how they are interested in each other, possibly romantically, and they did agree while they were going to stay friends in the house, they were thinking about maybe pursuing some sort of relationship or whatever after the game. So I guess she was like, I mean, can you blame her for being upset here? I wouldn't want to see some dude I was going to be dating in the future like rubbing all up on somebody else. No way. So, yeah, she's not happy. But we're going to come back to that. So, T-Core and Chelsea were chatting in the bathroom. And T-Core is really trying to go to bat here for Chemo because Chemo, like I said, has not really been campaigning for himself. So, T-Core is trying to put in a little bit of work here for him. And she's like, I think that Chemo wants to work with the girls. Right? T-Core really wants to get this girls' alliance going, but she also doesn't want to just throw Chemo away in the garbage. So T-Core says she's heard that Leah might be a little bit concerned that Chemo is coming after her, but she feels like if Chemo wins HOH, he would not be putting Leah up on the block. And Chelsea's like, yeah, I don't think he would either. She thinks if Chemo were to win HOH, he would put up Quinn, Cam, and then maybe like Mackenzie. And T-Core's like, yes, I agree with this. But she says Chemo would not want Mackenzie to go home. She wouldn't be the target. So she's trying to put it out there. Chemo is for the girls. So T-Core says if we win HOH next week, it would probably be smart to put up one woman, right? We don't want to make it so obvious that we're all working together. And she's wondering if Angela would be willing to be that pawn. Leave Angela alone. Hasn't she been through enough? Has a lot of her shit been self-inflicted? Yes. But also, she doesn't need to be a pawn again. Boo. So anyway, Chelsea says there has never been a final six of all women before, like only women. And T-Core's like, I know. It's too tempting not to try. And T-Core says she really had an epiphany last week when she realized the balance between the women that are left and the guys that are left. The women are really outweighing the men at this point. So she's like, I think we could actually do this. So then Chelsea was talking about voting Joseph out this week, and that's going to be another guy out the door. And it's unclear at this point if she is serious about it or if she's just saying that in front of T-Core, because we've seen Chelsea talk a bit about keeping Joseph and splitting up T-Core's trio by taking out either Rubina or Chemo. So it's hard to tell where she really stands. But they talk more about how it would be historic to get the Girls Alliance to the final six. And yeah, we've never seen that before. It would be wild. But Chelsea is talking about the competition abilities of the remaining guys. So she says, all right, out of the four that are left right now, you have Quinn, Cam, Chemo, and Joseph. She says Quinn is the best all-around competitor, right? He's got the mental capabilities. He is athletic. So he's the best one. Cam is not as good as she thought he would be in competitions, but she does feel that he could pull out some random wins. I mean, he won that veto last week. But he hasn't been some comp beast like she thought he would. Chemo, she thinks is going to be strong moving forward in mental competitions. And then she says Joseph is just there. Yeah, I mean, he's performed really poorly in competition so far. I think he's probably somewhat thrown some of them, but I do think there have been a lot that he's tried in and he just like hasn't been good. So he's not much of a competition threat in her eyes. So this is interesting because at first it seemed like Chelsea was like really on board with this Girls Alliance, but then she starts talking to T-Core about Quinn, and she's trying to make T-Core feel better about Quinn and working with Quinn in the future. And she says, Quinn really wants to work with you. You don't have to worry about him. He's not going to be coming after you. which he's not. Like, it seems like he does want to continue to work with T-Core, but like, how could she trust him again? And how could he trust it? Like, I don't know how these people are all trying to work together when they keep burning bridges. I guess they're just really quick builders. I don't know. But yeah. Chelsea also tells T-Core, I don't think either of us should win this next HOH. That's not a good sign. She says we really need to space out our wins so that people don't feel threatened by us and we don't have like these huge targets on our back for being like competition beasts. So she's like, it would be ideal if Rubina or Angela could win the next HOH because they're gonna have reasons to put up people like Quinn, right? And then we don't have to do it. So I just don't know. I don't think it's a good idea to throw HOH at this point. I mean, we are in the second half of the game now. Also, I just feel like this kind of shows Chelsea is not 100% serious about this girls' alliance. It seems like she wants to play the middle. And this is something that Mackenzie brought up to Chelsea the other day, basically being like, if they propose a girls' alliance to us, we should accept it. And then we should play the middle and not fully commit to it. So I kind of feel like that's what we're seeing right now. And honestly, as gung ho as T-Core is about this girls' alliance, I think she wants to play the middle as well, right? She is keeping other options open outside of a girls' alliance. You know, she wants to keep Chemo around if possible. And I just don't see her sacrificing Chemo for some of these girls that would be included in the girls' alliance. You really think that that T-Core is going to pick Leah or Mackenzie over Chemo if she's got to choose? I don't think so. So I don't know how legit this girls' alliance would be, but there is a lot of discussion about it. A little later, Joseph and Quinn are chatting in the HOH room. And every time I see these two names together, I still can't help but think of the actor Joseph Quinn. I think that's his name from Stranger Things. So yeah, that always cracks me up. But anyway, Quinn really wants to get together all of the people who voted to get rid of Tucker last week. He wants to get that group together and he wants to tell them to keep Joseph this week. He's hoping they can all vote as a group again and keep Joseph safe because he does not want Joseph to go. And Quinn's like, yeah, Chemo's going to be shocked when he gets voted out if he doesn't win the AI competition. Right now, Chemo is Quinn's number one target. I think I keep doing that. I think Quinn is still really burnt by Chemo picking Tucker over him. He knows that he is not Chemo's number one. Chemo spilled about Quinn's power to Tucker a few weeks ago. So, like, he's not feeling great about Chemo at this point, but he feels like he could still work with T-Core. And I guess he just doesn't feel as threatened by Rubina in the game. But, like, would Chemo get voted out? Because, like, this girls' alliance, if it was for real, they could get together and save Chemo. But will they? We'll see. So Joseph is feeling pretty good about the votes. He feels like he's got this thing. He doesn't want to be too confident, but he is. But he's starting to return back to old Joseph, like from before he got nominated. He's getting a little too comfortable. So you never know what's going to happen if he starts opening up his mouth and blabbing again. But yeah, he's feeling like he should have the votes to stay this week. And he says, if I do survive this week, we are going to be in such a good spot. He says, nobody is going to suspect the two of us and Leah working together after what happened with this veto. Even if you are working together, is your ally just going to put you on the block again? Who needs who needs enemies when you have allies like Quinn? It's not a good situation. But Joseph is like, oh, this is like some Dan and Memphis shit from season 10. Y'all are not Dan and Memphis. Unless you plan to go like Merry Christmas or whatever. I don't know. But they also discuss how it really is starting to look a lot like Cam and Mackenzie are getting into a showmance. Everybody's picking up on it. They keep getting spotted petting each other. You know, everybody was freaking out when Rubina and Tucker were holding hands under a blanket. But now these two are all over each other and everyone's like, are they together? So, yeah. T-Core and Rubina, they have a game chat. And they know if they want to get this girls' alliance going, they need to lock it down ASAP. But I need to know, what does ASAP mean to T-Core and Rubina? Because I'm pretty sure it means as soon as possible, but there's a lot of things that they say they need to do ASAP and then they never do them. But anyway, Rubina is saying she would love to see a woman win, especially a woman of color. So she really wants to get this alliance going. And let's face it, now that Tucker is gone, her game has opened up, right? She can make other alliances that she wouldn't have necessarily made before. So she is ready to get some new stuff going. T-Core brings up that if they do get the chance to take out Quinn next week, they might need to go for it because next week he can't play for HOH. They have a good chance of potentially taking him out. And he's going to be a tough competitor to get rid of down the road. So if they get that shot, they might want to take it. However, T-Core does mention she's not as upset with Quinn as she was before. Because if you remember at the beginning of this week, T-Core was pissed at Quinn. She could barely even be in the same room with him. So now she's like, oh, it's hard to stay mad at him. He's such a good person. I kind of feel like this is a little bit of Chelsea's missed, right? Because T-Core was all pissed at Quinn. And then Chelsea's like, you don't have to worry about him. He wants to work with you. And now all of a sudden, T-Core is like, Quinn's not so bad. Yeah. T-Core is also, in true T-Core form, making plans outside of the Girls Alliance, which hasn't even been solidified yet. And she's already looking for outs, for ways out of it. She's like, let's take Chemo as far as we can. Maybe at some point we break off with him and leave the Girls Alliance behind. She's also proposing a potential alliance of herself, Rubina, Chelsea, Quinn, and Cam. What the crap is this? She's an alliance hopper. It definitely reminds me a lot more. I know she watches a lot of Survivor, and it makes sense because this gameplay reminds me so much more of Survivor gameplay with like the voting blocks, which are constantly changing, not necessarily a Big Brother style alliance that actually like stays together for more than a week. So it definitely is giving me Survivor vibes. But anyway, later, Mackenzie and Chelsea are discussing the voting options. So Mackenzie says Joseph honestly is not really a threat to her right now, which is basically what he said to her the other day that got her all pissed because he was like, yeah, you're good at competitions, but if you get to the end with me, I'll beat you because I have a better social game than you. I mean, everybody knows that Joseph is full of crap, right? He thinks very highly of his social game, but everybody else knows the truth. He doesn't have a great social game. So Mackenzie is not worried about him. Mackenzie and Chelsea seem to be in agreement that if it is Chemo versus Joseph up on the block, they want to vote out Chemo. They feel like he is the bigger threat. They want to break up that trio. But Chelsea says if Chemo wins the AI competition and it's Joseph versus Rubina on the block, that they should vote out Joseph. So she's kind of like changing it up here because earlier she was saying keep Joseph, split up the trio. So Chelsea's like, why would we get rid of Rubina? She is going to keep us safe if she wins HOH. And it would be 6 women against 3 men next week. So Mackenzie says, I see what you're saying, but also if we keep Rubina and Chemo, then that trio is still intact. We really need to break that up. So Chelsea keeps pushing, yeah, but Rubina wouldn't put us up if she were to win HOH. She's trying to do that girls thing. They know that Rubina is trying to get that alliance together. Also, at the same time, like, even though they're willing to maybe save Rubina, if it's Chemo versus Joseph, again, they want Chemo to go. Because they do feel like he might potentially put them up if he were to win HOH. Even though, you know, it's going around that he wants to work with the girls, they're wondering, like, is he actually going to do that? Yeah. All right. So then later in this conversation, Chelsea kind of starts talking a little crazy because Chelsea's like, wait. Now that I think about it, if I'm looking at this trio, Rubina is the glue holding them together. She says Tikor and Chemo wouldn't know what to do without Rubina. What? Is she forgetting that Tikor and Chemo have been attached at the hip since week 1? They were more than fine before Rubina entered their world, right? Before they became a trio. It was Tikor and Chemo. So I don't think Rubina is the glue. If anything, I would say Tikor is the glue. But honestly, even Rubina and Chemo, they're super tight. They're bonded by both being in love with Tucker. So like that trio is very, very tight. It just seems like all the more reason that it needs to be split up. But who knows what Chelsea is actually planning, because a little while later, she's talking to Chemo and she's promising, if you're up against Joseph, I'm voting for you to stay. She's telling Rubina, if you're up against Joseph, I'm voting for you to stay. So we don't know where she really stands. This would be a great time tonight to get some Chelsea diary rooms so we know what she actually wants to happen. But later, Chemo checks in with Tikor. I feel like I've barely seen Chemo on the feeds this week. He has really been keeping to himself. He has not been interacting much with people. So Tikor was like, I saw you chatting with my girl Chelsea earlier. What were you guys talking about? And Chemo says she told me that she doesn't even want to think about what would happen if it's me versus Rubina up on the block. And she did say that. She didn't even want to like go into that scenario because it's not going to be good for Chemo. But Chemo says, Chelsea told me that Joseph is her target and she wants me and Rubina here for a long time. So Chemo's asking Tikor, do you think I should be worried at all about like any of the different voting scenarios? Yeah, I think you should be worried about all of them. But Tikor tells him, I'm not really sure what would happen if you were up against Rubina. Oof, yeah, it wouldn't be good for Chemo. But she does say, I really think you should work on securing the votes for the scenario of you versus Joseph on the block. She says you would have me, Rubina, and Chelsea. Would he have Chelsea? It's hard to say. But Tikor advises Chemo, check in with Angela, check in with Mackenzie, mostly those two, and then also check in with Leah and Cam as an extra protective measure, right? Because you need 4 votes to stay. So just in case somebody falls through, maybe lock down a few extras. But Chemo says he's really scared at this point. He doesn't know what's going to happen. And he really just feels like he needs to win that AI comp. Yeah. But Tikor says, yeah, if you or Rubina, either one of you can win that AI competition, we can secure the votes for the other. Yeah, I don't know if they can. So later, Chelsea is talking to the cameras. She's doing her observations and predictions that she does every once in a while. This girl's all over the place. It's just so hard to say what she would do. Maybe she hasn't even decided what she would do at this point. But she predicts that Chemo will win the AI competition, which is whatever, right? It's just a prediction. The interesting thing is, then she says if it's Joseph versus Rubina, she predicts Rubina will go home. She says it would be Tucker going and then Rubina back to back. So does this mean that she would be voting Rubina out? Is that what she's saying? Because that's kind of what it sounds like. I don't know. But then she gets us all confused again, because then she's talking about how if they get rid of another guy this week, they could make history. You know, they could potentially get 6 girls to the final 6. It would be 3 guys that they're up against. And she says this season could go down in history. So maybe she just means like if Chemo doesn't win the AI comp and he's still on the block, then they would vote him out. I don't know. Chelsea, what's going on? But in other news, Quinn was trying to get that group together last night. The group of people that voted for Tucker to go last week. He was trying to get them together up in the HOH room so that they could talk about the vote. I don't know if he was trying to solidify an alliance as well, but he at least wanted to talk about the vote. So he's trying to get everybody up to the HOH room, Chelsea, Cam, Leah, and Mackenzie, and they do get up there. But Tikor and Rubina were sitting up by the fish tank, and they're seeing everybody going into that HOH room, and they're like, what's going on here? They figure Quinn is trying to lock in an alliance, and they don't want that happening. So they tell Chemo, go in that HOH room, break it up. They also go in there to break things up. I gotta say, good work. You know, you gotta do your top blocking every once in a while. So they were able to do that. Quinn did not have his big conversation that he was hoping for last night. But I have to mention, while this group was chilling up in the HOH room, it was most of the house, I think. Cam literally jumped into the HOH bed where Mackenzie was so that he could get his little head scratchies from Mackenzie again. Oh boy. And I'm talking like head basically like on her crotch, like inches from her crotch, arm wrapped around her leg. That's looking pretty cozy. And you know who else was in there? Chelsea, of course. So Chelsea sees this happen and she's got to pull her blanket up over her face because she's freaking laughing about it. It's just laughable at this point for her, right? So after Chelsea leaves, she goes and talks with T-Core. She's venting about Cam. And she's like, honestly, I don't blame Mackenzie in this situation because she doesn't think Mackenzie realizes that she has feelings for Cam. She doesn't know that. However, Cam he knows that Chelsea's into him and supposedly he's into her too. So like, what are you doing? Um yeah. So she's also talking about how Cam treats her like a bro, he treats the rest of the women like ladies, and she feels like Cam is like flirting with all the girls, trying to make sure they're good with him. I honestly don't even get why she likes him at this point because she's always going on and on about how dirty he is, talking about him not washing his cracks and like I don't get it. I don't get it. But Chelsea's wondering, is Cam just playing me and pretending he likes me so that I will be a vote for him and I'll be on his side in this game? I mean, it's possible. I don't really see the chemistry between these two. I don't know, but Chelsea's pretty upset about it. So aside from that, Chelsea and T-Core also touched base again on this girls' alliance that they're trying to get together. And Chelsea says, you know what? I think it's great. I think we should go for it. But she says, I really think we should wait until next week to solidify it. Uh-oh, that's not a good sign. But she says, look at this scenario. What if we solidify this alliance and then one of the guys wins HOH? She does not want that information coming out. And then that HOH dude puts 3 of the women up on the block. So she's like, we can't be doing that. We're going to be in trouble if a guy wins HOH. So she says, we should wait, see who wins HOH, and then we can solidify this alliance. I feel like Chelsea is using this excuse because she is gearing up to vote out either Chemo or Rubina, and she doesn't want to have to commit to an alliance with T-Core until after that is done, right? I think she does want to break up that trio. But T-Core's like, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. That's fine. But we can, keep letting the girls know that we want to do this. And T-Core also said, while she does want to bring Chemo as far as possible in this game, she says Chelsea and Rubina are her priorities. I believe it at this point. I think that is true. I never thought that I would see T-Core picking someone else over Chemo, but like Chemo has been checked out this week, and T-Core has been spending so much time with Rubina. I definitely see her continuing this game with Rubina over Chemo if it comes down to it. I think she also just sees more opportunities to get to the end with Rubina if they can get this girls' alliance going. So seems like T-Core is making her choice here. So that was all yesterday, last night. Today, Chemo is finally hitting the campaign trail. But is it too little, too late? I mean, he doesn't have anything like exceptional that he's proposing to people. It's not set in stone yet, but right now it seems like Chemo will be going unless he wins the AI arena competition. It's not looking good for him. But if he does win and we have Joseph versus Rubina up on the block, at this point, I don't know who's going. I feel like Chelsea, Mackenzie, Cam, they're all going to be voting Rubina out. It really comes down to what Chelsea decides, it seems like. But I feel like she is leaning towards voting Rubina out at this point, and breaking up that trio. But again, Joseph is getting really comfortable again and really feeling like he has the votes. He is doing the most. So you never know. He could end up talking his way outside of this house. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next 24 hours leading up to this eviction. But I want to thank you all so much for being here and for watching. And I want to give a special shout out to our super chatters. Woo! So, Gail Murphy Comedy, thank you so much. Gail says, thank you, Maddie. Thanks for watching, Gail. Benjamin, thank you as always. Benjamin says, low key, want chemo to win AI and throw a wrench in everyone's plans. It'd be pretty wild, right? Hoping Joseph's ego will shrink after this week. Who do you want to see make final three? Very nice. Okay, so I also would love to see Joseph's ego shrink after this week, and I was hoping that that's what would happen with him being nominated. And it did for about 12 hours or whatever, but I feel like now that ego is getting pumped up again. I feel like he's going right back to where he was before the nomination, which is insane. But who do I want to see make the final three? That's a very good question. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I will say Angela. I mentioned yesterday that I really am liking Angela and Chelsea so far. And then for the third spot, I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm really not sure who would be in that third spot for me, but Angela and Chelsea, I'm really digging right now. So we'll see. We'll see who's worthy of that third spot. But I want to know from you guys who you want to see in the final three. Dawn MH302, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Raven Picks, thank you so much. Raven says, get Quinn out. If they don't, he will win. I also think they're going to need to strike on Quinn soon because I do think he is capable in competitions and he could like win out to the end like Jag did if they don't get rid of him soon. So I think the sooner the better if they're planning on taking Quinn out. Jody Cortez, thank you so much. Jody says, great job. Thanks. It's 104 here in LA. Oh my God. No outside house guests. Yeah. 104 is nuts. I hope you're staying nice and cool, Jody. Hope you're in that AC. Travel K, thank you so much. And Travel K says, thanks for all you do. But I have to say, I do miss the towel every now and then, lol. I know, me too. I have been showering earlier in the days this year. I used to just like shower moments before I had to do a live stream, but I have been showering before lunch this season. It's been a little bit more manageable for me to get everything in that I'm trying to do in the day. But yeah, I promise you, this hair is clean every day. But yeah, the towel, good times. So thank you all so much for being here. And I'll see you later. I'll see you later for the episode recap. So until then, much love. Bye, everybody.